What is up, you guys? So I've been sick for a few days, a little bit of a cold or something. Oh man, it's day 11 for the Honda Civic rebuild, and this is going to lead us into what happened with the smog, what it means for me, and where we're going from here. So one, I could not get an emissions readout because the place wanted to give me a smog strike, which you get two here in California. They wanted to give me a smog strike because I did not have OEM or Cali Carb Law compliant components. Now, this guy told me that if I brought the vehicle back with any aftermarket parts, he would give me an official strike on the vehicle. He said that he didn't think there was any Cali Carb authorized carburetors, filters, airflow. He just didn't think that any of this stuff was out there. So he said if it doesn't come back looking OEM, he's going to give it a strike. So we're not going back to that smog shop. So I wanted an emissions readout so that I can troubleshoot what's going on with my engine. I have found information mainly on Reddit from other people that have this exact car with this exact engine, and through their story they take these emissions readouts and they dial in exactly what's going on in the engine. So I was hoping to use some of this community knowledge to give myself an advantage and possibly move this project on a little quicker. The guy when I made the appointment didn't understand what I was trying to accomplish, so I didn't go into this appointment with very high hopes. So let's do a brief education on California vehicle requirements. In California, after 2019, your vehicle has to meet CARB, C-A-R-B requirements and California emission requirements. So these laws, they basically state that your vehicle has to have the original manufacturer's equipment in it, or there has to be what's called executive orders here in California stating that your aftermarket parts and accessories are legit. For this particular vehicle, I haven't seen very much parts that qualify with these executive orders. I was able to find one air filter by K&N, which will help, not me. It will help once I get an OEM carburetor and vacuum line and charcoal box, but it's not going to help me get this thing smogged. So it puts me in this really odd position. Okay, so back to the California laws. One, the vehicle has to have all OEM parts or these approved parts that California has approved. That's how you can get a smog check, a vehicle inspection, and you can get your normal registration in the mail. The second option that we can do is we can tell the DMV, I recently bought this car, it's from out of state, it's gonna require work to make it legal here in California. They can give me an extension, I believe it's 30 days, and then from there, what we can do is we can do scheduled non-operation. Now with scheduled non-operation, they do understand that these vehicles are being worked on, so you are technically allowed to drive the vehicle, but not excessively and not regularly. So I think this would come into play if heaven forbid you crashed the car and killed somebody and the car was on registered non-op. I believe that they would be able to figure it out just through witnesses and people that see your daily movements if you were using this car all the time. In this case, the car is going to require an OEM carburetor and a vacuum line setup. Not a huge financial investment, a lot of time, a lot of finding antique parts. So that might be the route. There's a third route. So in the United States, for cars to be considered classic, they have to be 25 years old. We're here in the year 2020. That means cars 1995 and older, and the rest of the country is considered antique or classic. I'm not saying that a 1994 LeBaron or Mitsubishi Eclipse. God, they probably weren't making cars then. 1994 Prelude is a classic car. Technically, yes, it doesn't mean that people are flying out to buy it like Model Ts or first-gen Hondas or Toyotas. So, classic car. It is 25 years old. So, there is this option to get like historic plates on the car. This kind of falls into this like special category niche. And this historic plates, they do offer some problems. I think they're like $120 a year for registration in perpetuity. So, you don't want to do that on a car that's not, like a 1950s Cadillac. In 20 years, might someone want to do that on this little Honda Civic? Maybe, maybe. The other option is that we can make the car a complete special car, like a kit car. And you do this by doing massive changes to the car, like an engine swap, intake swap. You could switch it over to maybe a fuel-injected engine. And then you have extra steps and processes for how you get the vehicle smogged. My son's making a small cameo. What's up, son? Yeah. So when you do an engine swap or you do massive engine modifications, there are some extra steps to getting the vehicle smogged and registered. Mainly you have to go to like a referee station and have the vehicle inspected. And there are some fees involved with that too. But you can't do it at a normal smog shop. So those are our 4 options. I'm leaning towards either rebuilding the carburetor and vacuum line setup very, very quickly, or possibly registering their car non-op and taking a few extra months, really dialing it in. Those other options, as far as the historic plates or the engine swap, not really realistic on this particular vehicle, especially when you think of the added cost of registering the car every year. My wife has expressed some interest in possibly keeping this car. So, I don't want to make it a historic car for no reason other than getting past smog when I've got the luxury and the time to afford smog. That being said, the idea of this car was to be a flipper, kind of a burn and churn project. That's not going to be the case, so the car hunting will continue. And yeah, so the Honda still has its schedule to go get the welding done. We are going to chase down that carburetor. I did get a headrest in the other day, so I'm going to start experimenting with trying to breathe some life into these sun-faded plastics that are this maroon, off red, but I'm gonna buy a heat gun. If I can get those oils back to the surface and kind of like reinvigorate this plastic, I'll be so excited. Maybe some bad news about the headliner. It's not gonna change anything. I'm sorry about the weird glares. I dropped my phone and it shattered. So yeah, if there's weird glares, you're actually probably seeing light through cracks in the camera. So yep, you see those? Yeah, those are those are some webs going across the camera there. So yeah, Honda Civic project will continue. We might keep the car. I think it'll be really valuable here in the next few years. And we'll offload it once it's legal and once we've got our joy out of it. My wife has expressed some interest in learning how to drive manual. having a car that we own outright that we're not afraid of blowing the clutch on might make this easier as well. So that's our update on the Honda Civic. Unfortunately, it's going to be a garage queen. It's going to require some work, at least a little bit more work than I want to do financially on something that would be a gift for the next person. So I want to be nice, but not at giving away money. So we're going to put the money and love into the car. It's going to be a project car. It's going to be street legal here in California. It's going to take more time though. So thanks for watching.